Good morning all. I hope it's worth waiting for this presentation because you've been waiting so patiently. I guess I stand here in a uniform with ribbons and stuff, so I look like a subject matter expert, but to paint a little bit more of a picture, I'm a level 3 logistics officer. I've been accredited through AFAC, so effectively I can go anywhere in the world and be a logistics officer. So maybe that puts a little bit of credence to what I do. One of the issues that we have, particularly in the RFS, and the hangover from when we were just a bunch of blokes going out to fight fires, and we had to fundraise for every single thing we needed, donations. So let's unpack a little bit of that. The individual donation. Lovely little old lady or elderly resident or caring and concerned neighbour wants to create a casserole or a cake for the brigade. They've had a hard day, let's feed them up. Wonderful idea. And then you've got businesses. We're here, we've got goods, we've got services, we've got things that you may well need. Let's turn up on the doorstep of a brigade, drop them off. Great idea. So, in truth, the little old lady who donated the casserole gave the entire brigade food poisoning. So those 15 people were no longer able to go out in the fire ground for 3 days. So what we now do is, if we can't give it back to you, we will thank you very much, transport whatever it is to our crockery. Once you leave, we'll throw it in the bin. If we cannot identify, if it's not made in a commercial kitchen and we cannot identify the ingredients, we will throw it in the bin. For that simple reason, and of course we now reflect upon terrorism and the acts therein, and we don't have to be law-abiding citizens to pretty much ruin or interrupt firefighting capability. So we don't. That's what we do now. Sadly, that's the truth. And I can tell you, Christmas Black Summer fires, we had a lovely resident turn up with effectively everything that was presented at the aged care facility Christmas dinner, in containers, handed to us. You enjoy them. And I swear to God, there were still little bits that came from the bonbons in amongst the food. All in good intentions, but we have to be honest and serious about what we're trying to produce here. Businesses. We've had donations of 2 pallets of 2-litre French salad dressing. 2-litre bottles, 2 pallets of. We've had 3 pallets of those Master Food sachets of sautéed chicken. So if you imagine how many of those go in a box, how many boxes on a pallet, times that by 3, we had to take custody of that because they went to brigades and donated them to brigades. So they're all actually offloaded from the truck by hand as well. Both of those donations had a expiry date of 3 weeks. Completely useless to us. We got donated 600 fedora hats. In this space, donations, we appreciate the need and the want and the desperation of people to do good and assist us. But we have to stress here, every organisation in emergency services is enacted under an Act of Parliament. Staff are government employees. We have funds to do everything that we need to do. The 3 Section 44s that are currently in operation right now, we have federal and state government money to the tune of $70 million a day. We can fund ourselves. Consider the disaster that Val showed where the rail line had slipped in Mount Victoria. Now, imagine fundraising for that to be repaired. You wouldn't. So why do you do it to us? I understand the hangover of the RFS was a volunteer, and is a volunteer service. We have 75,000 volunteers. We're the largest volunteer firefighting service in the world. But we're also a government instrumentality. We are paid by the government and receive resources from the government to put these things into brigades. So we don't need your, dare I say it, stuff. As much as we appreciate the need and want. If you want to do something, giveit.org.au. Go online now and have a look at Give It. There are individual requests by individual people who are struggling that need something. a fuel voucher, a microwave. They're there, and that's where you can, if you can identify that and address the help there, you'll actually be doing good, because we don't need your stuff. But how can you work with emergency services? I've spoken to SES from Fire and Rescue and VRA. You need to become a vendor. If you are a vendor, we can work with you. We can also raise emergency orders if you're providing something that we desperately need. But otherwise, unless you are a vendor in our system, and sadly our systems are all disconnected, so if you go to SES and become a vendor there and you want to work with us as well, you need to come to RFS and ask as well. It's simple forms to fill out. Once you're in our system and we need you, whatever you're providing, we can utilise you. We're a little bit tardy in our payments. We're getting better, but we're not best. But, you know, we are driven by, you have to be on our system. But really, what else can business do? It's about you being prepared, and business continuity is the key. You need to know and have in place plans for disaster. And ask yourself some simple questions. What will happen when your staff cannot turn up for work? They either choose not to, or they are unable to turn up for work due to a localised disaster. In the Blue Mountains, we have snowstorms that'll wipe the day out so no one can get in because the Great Western Highway's blocked. We've had landslips, we've had road crashes, we've had obviously bushfires where your staff may live in an area that is being impacted by a bushfire and choose to stay at home to defend their property rather than come to work and work with you. And also, what happens in your business if you can't get there yourself? So what connections do you have to other organisations that can provide you with assistance in that space? So consider yourself a shopfront in a small hamlet or village, cafe, hairdresser, whatever. How are you going to prepare if customers or just local residents choose to take shelter in your building? You know, if we reflect upon the Linksview Road fire, we had 197 houses burnt in 4 hours in Wimberley and Yellow Rock. Now, Springwood was the evacuation centre, but before that, the Springwood Sports Club, before that became the evacuation centre, people fled that area and went to Springwood because, you know, leaving early is your safest option, and we will always advocate going to a place of population. So suddenly Springwood had 1,000, 1,500 scared, concerned local residents who were seeking information. So what will happen in that space where suddenly your hairdressing salon or your cafe or your whatever is impacted by 30 or 40 people asking you what's going on, asking if they can borrow your phone, can I get a drink of water, can I use your toilet? So if you consider in your continuity plan what that may or may not look like, and if you're able to provide that support, have it documented. And if you are, you know, a business that requires, you know, people to make bookings and to turn up, how are you going to tell people not to turn up? You know, in this case, the RFS is the perfect example when it comes to business continuity because we have 47 districts, 7 regions and a couple of head offices, 1 head office and a warehouse. So if the Blue Mountains district office is taken offline, we can divert our phones to Chifley and the job's done. Phones, radios go to Chifley, we don't have to worry. We can get on with fixing whatever we need to fix. Your business should be able to do the same if you're a service-oriented business, where you can say, give your contact list to the local hardware store or someone not affiliated with your business. Please contact these people, tell them don't come in today. But you need to consider these. And there's a whole raft of things in that space for business continuity that you need to think about when it comes to disaster. Are you connected to your micro-community? So your micro-community is those businesses that are neighbouring to you, whether they're in an office, or warehouse or a factory units. When it comes to flash flooding, riverine flooding, you know, do you have the connections in that space to work collectively to lift all of the things that you need to lift, or to relocate all of the things that you need to relocate, or to assist in the preparation across those 6, 10, 15 factory units in order to get yourselves collectively prepared when it comes to disaster? Situational awareness is the key. We stress that to residents and we stress that to business. You need to have the new hazards near me approach. Used to be fires near me. We've extended it to storms and flooding. Apparently it's not as good as it was, but it's getting there. But, you know, you can, if you have that on your phone, you can still find out the information around bushfires around the area and floods around the area. And now the Hazards Near Me app pushes information out to you as well. So you can put a mark in a map to say, well, I work here and I live here, and put a circle around that map up to 75 kilometres. And if a fire or a flood occurs in any of that space, it'll ping to your phone to say there is an issue that you may need to be aware of. Vitally important, particularly when you've got staff coming in from all parts of the area, to know that maybe they can or cannot come into work today. So we also have all of our own emergency work services have their own websites. Fortunately, we don't combine them. We all work in lockstep individuality. And as you'll see from a lot of the information that I've seen shown, we sing the same song, but we have totally different covers on the hymn book. But be connected to RFS, Fire and Rescue, SES, VRA, you know, if you're close to the water, God bless you, you know, surf lifesaving, marine rescue. Be connected to those places as well. And don't forget ABC Radio and all of those other channels of information that you can hook into. One of the projects that we're working on right now in the Blue Mountains through our community engagement committee, which is made up of one staff and volunteers, is we're looking at how do our messaging has to be accurate, timely and present. But how many people now watch or still watch free-to-air TV? There'd be no one, or very few, unless footy's on, or The Bachelorette or whatever other, stuff is on. So how do we interrupt Netflix? How do we interrupt Spotify? How do we interrupt those internet-based service providers to say that there is an issue in your area? So we're actually seeking that the RFS do something in that space to figure out how we can make sure that we contact everyone, not just everyone who watches free-to-air TV or listens to ABC Radio. So there's a lot of stuff in here we have to figure out how do we unpack. But get ready, New South Wales. There are significant publications on the state government website around businesses preparing for disaster. And this is where businesses need to go. Don't give us donations. Don't fund us for anything. We don't need your money. We don't want your money. We're grateful for Celeste Barber to give us $55 million. As you already discovered, we can't do anything with it. I mean, we can do stuff with it, but we're doing stuff with it that's actually saving the state government money, which is a ridiculous way to think. But if you go to any other organisation and all these organisations that need funding, like Resilient, Lismore and all those others, donate there. Donate to people who are on the ground that need stuff. Donate to MCRN. So, am I quick? I'm quick. So, the information there is there. And there's a workbook as well. And it really is a step-by-step approach to what is it that I need to consider, how is it that I can do the things that I need to do to prepare for a flood, a fire, a storm or whatever. So work together, have your business continuity plans in place, understand where you can get your information from, be situationally aware, and all will be good. Thank you.